Hey listeners, producer Sam here with a quick note before the show begins. This episode was recorded a few weeks before Election Day of 2025. We make references to Zohran Mamdani's campaign for New York City mayor and are cautiously optimistic about the results because he hadn't won yet. That's it. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Worst Quality Crab, a podcast of Asian American stories and recipes from best quality hearts. I'm your host, Freesia Lee. Joining me as always is my husband and producer, Sam.
Hello.
On this episode, we are joined by New York-based Filipina-American Eleanor Mooney. She's the co-founder of Verdant, a luxury lingerie brand built for the New York woman in motion. Pieces so comfortable and timeless that carry you from day to night. Hi, Eleanor.
Hi, Freesia. Hi, Sam. Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited.
We're excited to have you. I mean, I have so many things to say already, but just if you are a new listener here or you forgot what we do on this show, we bring on guests and they talk about their childhood memorable dishes, and then we talk about growing up Asian in America and all of the things that come from that. And Eleanor, I'm particularly interested in, one, the dish you brought, and two, some of the things that you've teased as far as your experiences growing up. You are Filipina and half white, so I relate in a way. And with the white last name.
Yeah.
Relatable, my maiden name. But mostly, tell me about Lumpia, please.
Yes. So I did a little deep dive into Lumpia when we were chatting. And so what I found out, because I didn't know a lot about like the history of Lumpia at all, was that it comes from to the smaller words, lun, which is wet or moist, and then pia, which is pastry. So it's like the fried pastry. And so lumpia can refer to, any range of spring rolls in the Philippines. There are obviously the lumpia that we know, which is typically ground beef. I grew up cooking it with shrimp as well, carrots, cabbage, onions, garlic, soy sauce. But then there's also the sweet version, toron, which is typically the same pastry with caramelized banana inside.
Mm.
Oh, God. Why do we always do this show before we eat lunch? This is a crime on our part. We should know better by now. But we don't. Where were you eating lumpia? Who was making this for you? What was this like in your childhood?
Yeah, I think some of my earliest memories of eating lumpia were during Filipina parties. So when I was growing up, my mom would take us to friends' homes. She didn't have any family when she moved here to the U.S. when I was about 2. So my parents met in the Philippines. My dad was visiting old army friends, like he had served in Vietnam, was visiting friends, traveled around the world a lot for work and just to travel. One of his friends was dating my mom's younger sister. And so they met when they were out, and they stayed pen pals actually, and then fell in love.
That's so adorable.
Yeah. And then they had my older sister, Tanya. She was born in the Philippines. Then when I think my mom was pregnant with me, or like before they were pregnant with me, they moved back to the U.S. And then when I was about 6 months, my sister, my mom, and I moved back to the Philippines because my mom wasn't used to raising kids alone. She had my dad's family, but, they were all still working. And so that was kind of the only community she had I grew up in Massachusetts. And so she moved back and she had, her whole community, her family, friends. My sister had 2 nannies to help. It was like a totally different thing. And then when my sister had to go to school at 5, we moved back to Massachusetts. And I was 2 years old then. So the memories I have are like Filipino parties of like communities throughout New England, and actually like also Chicago, where some of my mom's family was, LA, and West Covina. And Filipino parties were always like lots of music, karaoke, lots of food, cooking like throughout the party, like not just before the party, like throughout the party as well. Lechon, like, a whole roasted pig, sometimes outside still being cooked, and always lumpia. So when I was preparing for this, I like messaged all of my Filipina friends and we're like, what memories does it evoke in you? Like, what feelings do you get when you think of lumpia? And I think the main thing everyone had said was like, it's a comfort food, and it's one of my friends said it's like the safe food when you go to like a Filipino party, like, you can go to the lumpia and it's like, oh, it's gonna be good no matter what. fried food, so of course it's going to be good. And then Michelle, my co-founder for Verdant, said one thing that she always thinks about with Lumpia too is like, if there's a never-ending supply, so like you see it on the table and you get to the end and you're like, oh no, it's all gone, and then like another tita comes with like a platter of more Lumpia. So it's like the never-ending snack as well. So yeah, it was always the Filipino parties, holiday parties. It was always the food that like everyone wanted to eat, kids even. Like my sister didn't like to, like she didn't like seeing like the roasting pig. And so like she would eat the lechon. Now she does, but as a kid. But lumpia was like the safe thing that she always ate. So it's like a fun party food. And I feel like even lots of Americans know what it is because it's a spring roll. So they all know it and they all love it too. And like if they know that you're Filipino, I feel like that's the first thing that really, you make lumpia? Can you make me some lumpia?
I mean, that is not incorrect. Confession, we do get lumpia at Costco frozen.
Yeah.
And our kids like it.
Fair.
Yeah. I just came from Costco. They had a fresh one too.
Oh, really?
A fresh one.
Yeah. It was like in the fridge section and it was like kind of pre-fried and I don't know. I didn't get it. We can't have two kinds of lumpia at the same time from Costco. That felt wrong.
What do you use dipping sauce or do you just have it without a sauce?
We have a dipping sauce, but so the one that we buy comes without it.
Okay.
And then the big child that likes it the most wants to dip it in something. And she likes like a sweet chili sauce.
Yeah,
sweet chili sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And occasionally, if we don't have that, she'll take a hoisin sauce.
Great. Yeah. She sounds like me.
She calls it brown sauce. Something sweet, as long as it's like something sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, the sweet and the salty balance. Totally.
Is that your sauce of choice?
The sweet chili sauce, yeah. I think when I was younger, I also liked the Mang Tomas sauce. Do you know that? The Mang Tomas sauce? It's for lechon. It's like a gravy-ish sauce.
Oh, yes.
And I think
it's like an all-purpose sauce-ish. Is it brown?
Yes. And they don't ship it into the US anymore.
Oh, then not the one in my cabinet. Okay. Someone out there, figure this out for us.
Yeah.
Listener,
Let us
Lorraine, Nicole. I'm just assigning it out to Filipinos I know. They'll work on this for us.
Are those the sisters?
Nicole and Sam are the sisters. Okay. Lorraine she's like a sister to all of us. She's hollow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We just need, I think, a Filipino party with all of our past guests.
Yes. Bring us the food.
The food would be so good.
We'll go to the party.
God. Potluck. Okay. We're getting way off track or extremely perfectly on track.
Yeah, I was just thinking Kamayan. Do you know Kamayan? The Kamayan festival? Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's a perfect thing of like bringing all the snacks and just putting it out on the table.
Was that something you grew up with?
I didn't grow up with it, but like Michelle, again, my co-founder, she did one for all of our friends. We have like a bunch of Filipino friends in New York. And she has done them at her house. And they get the banana leaves. And her dad cooks all this food and like a platter. If people don't know, Kamayan feasts were originally started by the Filipino military when they didn't have, all the supplies when they were out. So they would essentially set up tables with huge banana leaves and just like throw all the food on top of the banana leaves and everyone would eat communally. And so it's still something that Filipino restaurants here in New York do. And then Michelle did one for us a few years ago, which was really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to you as a kid and the lumpia. Was your mom making this? It sounds like all the titas were making it, but does your mom have like her own version or recipe or?
My mom definitely made it. I feel like this was also when I was younger, like when I started to realize that you can have like a recipe, but like everyone can make it differently because like my mom's best friend, my Aunt Sandra, she would make it different than my mom and still super tasty, but just different. But they called it the same thing. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, why do they make it this way? And why are some of them smaller and some of them are like thicker? And like, I feel like that brings into like the different technique and like learning how to like make your own, like not just the filling, but even just like the technique of like making the lumpia itself. So my mom, the recipe she made, she didn't stick to, like she was very like a freestyle chef. And I feel like that's how I learned to cook as well. Like not a ton of measurements and it's more like by taste. And that's how I still really like to cook. So like I'm a terrible baker because like I'm like, I can throw in like a teaspoon of this and then it always tastes like a ton of baking powder instead of like anything else. So yeah, she didn't have recipes. So like I remember like I was thinking about this week as like thinking of this episode. Like I would call her when she was at work, which is like so crazy now thinking about I was bothering her at work for this. But like calling her being like, "Hey mom, I'm cooking like this. Like what do you put in it exactly?" Like I was thinking there's like this dish called beef steak Tagalog, which is like thinly sliced beef that you would marinate in like hoisin sauce, soy sauce, ginger ale, garlic, and like let that sit for a while. And then you would fry that, fry potatoes, fry onions, and serve it with rice.
Sounds great.
It's so good.
So hungry.
So good. And it takes a long time though. And it's like, again, like whenever I think about this, I'm like, oh, it's going to take like 5 hours to make. I'm not going to make it, but so good. And yeah, I just remember thinking like when I was learning to cook by myself and like calling her to ask for these recipes, like, how do I know how much to put in and like how much of everything and like how do I know it's going to turn out okay? How much oil do I use? Like I don't know. And so just like a lot of trial and error of like putting things together. And I think especially with lumpia, like so much trial and error and like when you're teaching other people how to make lumpia, like the technique is so important because like you don't want like the filling to be too oily and you also don't want it to be too warm because it's going to like tear the rice cake or the flour cake. So you like need to prepare that first, drain all the oil, set it aside, prepare all the sheets, and then like make sure that you're folding and not overstuffing it and make sure it's just a little wet to like seal the lumpia so it doesn't totally rip apart when you're frying it. So it's a lot of trial and error, but I feel like that's part of the fun of making it and like doing it with a group, like teaching people and sitting down around the table. It's like the start of the feast that you're having is like doing it all together.
Yeah. I mean, you also just made a case for why we're going to continue to buy it at Costco, but that sounds fun in a group.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't know why I just thought of this, but there was an episode of Queer Eye where they had on like a Filipino guest and, you know, for their reveal, they were supposed to like cook something for their family. They like taught them to make lumpia and then they like made it on the spot for their family. And I was like, of all of the dishes, like I know that this is the dish that like most people understand. And so it's like, you know, accessible to the viewing audience.
Yeah.
But for a person who's about to reveal their whole new look and home, that seems like the worst possible dish for them to have to also make. Like make the filling, then roll it and fry and then serve and like keep going. And I was like, Queer Eye, I'm not sure I follow on this one.
I mean, that sounds very Filipino though.
I mean, sure, but
so classic.
Like you describing like draining the filling and making sure all of these things are right. I was like, that's difficult for a person that has just learned to cook and is also presenting a whole new life to themselves.
Yeah.
But in a party, your way sounds real fun.
Yeah. It actually makes me think like I should actually do that with friends. That would be a really fun thing to do.
Oh, I was just going to ask if you've ever done that.
I think in childhood, like when my mom would make them or like if we were having parties, like my sister's friends or my friends would come over and we would do it. I also taught my ex and his dad how to do it once, like one holiday we made them, but I haven't done it recently. It would be really fun to do with friends, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you get to just eat as you go and make and eat. And
that's part of the fun too. Yeah. You're like making it, you're like cooking it and eating it as you're making it.
What else were you eating growing up? So Filipino mom, white dad. Was she doing most of the cooking?
She was doing most of the cooking. I was raised in the 90s. So like my mom was working full time in hospitality, 60-hour weeks, but also doing the majority of the stuff.
Wow.
You know, like cleaning the house and doing all the laundry until my sister and I took that over. And then my dad kind of like shuttled us around my sister and I grew up figure skating. So like he shuttled us around doing that. And kind of being there for like a lot of the events. But yeah, my mom definitely managed the vast majority of the home stuff. My dad cooked like really good breakfast things, like weekend brunch stuff. And I guess it must have been things that he learned in the military. I need to ask him because it was like corned beef hash with like egg on top in the oven, you know?
Oh, yes, please.
Yum.
Yeah, I know. So it was so good. I don't really remember a ton of other stuff that he cooked. And now they're retired in the Philippines. And so like they have people that are cooking for them. So like he definitely doesn't cook anything now.
Nice.
But yeah, it was mostly my mom and mostly Filipino food that I learned how to make from her. And I think a lot of the stuff that I cook now that's not Filipino food, I like learned from cooking myself, like on New York Times or like Bon Appetit or like my ex was in hospitality as well, and he taught me a lot of cooking techniques that are a good thing that came out of the relationship.
There's always something.
Yeah.
Usually. What else was your mom cooking? And like, were you bringing lunches, first of all? And like, I guess I'm always curious for people that like mostly ate, you know, sort of their ethnicity's food at home, what it's like to eat outside of the home.
Yeah. Well, I can't speak for my sister, but I was definitely bringing some lunches. I made a lot of my own lunches. So like I would bring a lot of like ramen, like in the thermoses.
Yeah.
Cool. And like, you know, you'd get there and then it would be like totally blown up. Like,
Yes. That's like a favorite core childhood memory of mine. Just being like, all the soup is gone. Everything is puffy.
Yeah. It's so good. I think there were definitely times like I love them. I think everyone has the same memory of like the Tupperware, like, you know, like a Cool Whip Tupperware or like the reused Tupperwares with like food in it. Like for sure that. But I think also like, that was something like we wanting to be American in like a basically white suburb of Boston. Like I wanted to be a white child, even though like I knew I was super proud of being Filipina. And I think like I more than my sister relate to my mom's side of the family, even though my sister has like really dark skin. And I think people like recognize her as Filipina, even though I look exactly like my mom, just lighter skin. So it's kind of switched, I think, because like we both, I think, wanted to relate to the side that I think people didn't see us as necessarily. And so, yeah, I didn't want to bring like these Tupperware, like Cool Whip Tupperware full of food and like have it smell in like the closet of like the classroom. So then I think I stopped doing that and I would like just order food at school. But always like whenever we'd have parties, like my mom would send people away with like Ziplocs of lumpia or like whatever we were cooking, pancit. So like noodles. And again, that's another one that's like very regional, different, like sometimes rice noodles, sometimes yellow wheat noodles, sometimes mix of the two. I really liked it with like the really sweet Chinese sausage. Love that. Again, like salty and sweet. So good.
Yeah.
The Filipina sausage as well. And what other things? Like the bistec Tagalog that I was talking about, like the fried beef with like potatoes and onions and rice. Kare kare. Did you guys do a kare kare episode?
Okay, I know of it. I have yet to have it.
Okay.
And I need to.
It's so good.
Everybody loves it.
You like peanut butter?
I do.
Yeah, so good.
Someday.
I've actually never made it, but I want to try making it because I also really, really love it. But I know it's like another one of those things that you have to like kind of sit there and like.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yes.
Sunday cook style. Yeah.
And then adobo, of course, which like adobo's so hard. Like I think it's hard to make because I like have this memory of exactly what it should taste like from my mom cooking it and my aunt cooking it. And I feel like the 2 times I tried to make it, it like did not taste like that. So I was like, well, I failed. So I'm like not going to go back to it.
Okay, so you are not the first person to say this, particularly about adobo. Yes, specifically about adobo. One of our guests, she also had the same experience where like she just could not get it right and then felt so much shame around it. And was like, why can't I do this thing that, you know, it should be in my blood or whatever?
Yeah.
Gave up for a while, tried again, and she finally got it.
Oh, so, you know what it was?
No, because it was probably specific to like her mom's recipe also and like her taste memories, but I think she just, you know, had to like have her mom talk her through it and just get really specific.
I think she might have like had her mom or grandmom cook it and then like she was standing next to her and like videoing it the whole time and like asking her questions
and watch her.
Stuff. I think that was part of it, or at least some recipes.
It's possible. I believe in you, Eleanor.
Thanks.
You can do it. And also, like, maybe what if you just had your own adobo recipe?
Yeah.
That you, like, it wasn't the same, but it was something that you liked.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. I really like vinegar. Like, there's also, like, a sinigang. Do you know sinigang? Vinegar soup. So I also love that. And I think sometimes when I've made the adobo, I've put too much vinegar in because I love it so much. And I'm like, this isn't right. But yeah, I could just make that version of it.
Oh, she had the same problem.
You like vinegar?
She also put too much vinegar.
Yeah. Does she like vinegar? We don't know.
She does, but it just wasn't like right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Maybe you all are just putting a little too much vinegar and just a little less is the answer.
Yeah.
To all of our problems.
More soy sauce, less vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll try again this winter.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll do like little batches of it. I think that's the thing. Like, I think I made like a huge pot of it because that's the only way to cook Filipino food is like cook for like 2 people. And then
correct.
I was like, well, I ruined it. So like, I just wasted so much money and time.
Well, then you just bring all the friends over and they don't know what it should taste like.
Yeah.
And then they tell you how good it is.
They don't know, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Bring all the non-Filipino friends over and say, this is it. This is one of them.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Batch testing.
And then you just make it again. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah, there was something else I just thought of when, arroz caldo, which one of your other guests talked about as well. That was like one of my favorite. That was like my birthday's in January, so it was always like freezing cold birthday. And that's what my mom would make for my birthday. And so I learned to make that as well, which I, again, like, don't really have the patience to cook it when I want it because I'm usually sick if like that's what I'm craving. So then I order like the Greek one, the avocado. I love avocado.
I think every culture has a version of it. We should, that's a whole other episode that we should explore. Every culture is rice porridge.
Oh.
And then a tasting afterwards.
Yes, the tasting. I think that's the most important part. Yeah.
Okay, I want to go back to this. Your sister is much darker, but you look just like your mom.
Yeah.
Because in preparing for the show, you talked about like being pretty white presenting and how you kind of relate to that and to your mom and hospitality. I think if I were to meet you in, normal life and I didn't know anything about you, I'd be like, she looks maybe kind of Asian. Like I
Yeah.
But like not sure. So what was that like for you? Because like for me, when I would be with my Chinese side of my family, I was like, oh, I stick out. And then, on the white side of my family, I'd be like, well, I stick out.
Yeah.
So, for you and especially having a sister, what was that experience like?
I think when we were younger, like we were really close and we're still really close. Like we grew up in a city that had like a lot of Hispanic kids, like a lot of Puerto Rican, South American kids, but not a lot of Asians. Like my sister and her best friend was Korean and like they were the only 2 Asian kids in like their class at our elementary school. And then I think the only other Asian in my class was someone who's adopted. And so like I think I didn't really have a relation to it outside, like in school at all. It was like always with my mom's family. And so my mom knows everyone. Like she talks to everyone. She has nicknames for everyone. So like everyone knows her. And so like everyone knew that she was my mom, but like my sister doesn't look like her and like doesn't really look like my dad. Like she's like a true like American mix of like wherever we travel. Like when we go to Greece, like people think she looks Greek. Like they speak to her in Greek. Like I think in America, everyone's like, are you Mexican? I've
gotten that one. I get it.
Do you get that?
Yeah. I used to. Not as much anymore, but yes.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I think as a kid, it was like very confusing to me for people to not understand that like you can have 2 people and they can like look totally different. Didn't we all take biology and like we understand how like genetics work? And like now as like an adult, especially after, like summer 2020 and like all of the stuff that came out with the protests, there was like so much more of that I think I worked through a lot of that with my sister. Like my sister made posts about it on Facebook. And I think a lot of people that she was friends with from our hometown, like really showed their true colors and she like just totally blocked them.
Wow.
Good for her.
Yeah. Yeah. She's no problem like cutting people out of her life. And then I made a post about it that I approved with her saying something along the lines of like when I was growing up, like people that didn't notice would see me, my dad, and my sister out and assume my sister was adopted. And that would always be the first thing. And I would always be offended for her because we were so close. And like, I think I felt a lot of like, I think I saw not rage, but maybe like inner rage and like hurt that she felt. And so like, I was really defensive for her and protective of that.
Good sister.
Yeah. Everyone thinks I'm the older sister, but I'm the younger sister. Because I think I was always like trying to protect her. And she protects me too. She still does. Good big sister too. But I think as a kid, I was just really confused by it. And I like didn't understand how people didn't realize that like families look different. Like all of my cousins who are mixed as well, their whole family looks totally different from one another. So it's like, how do other people not realize that? And now as I get older, I'm like, oh, people came from families that like everyone looks the same, like 5 sisters that look exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I see it. But yeah, I think as a kid, it was just super confusing. And I didn't understand how people didn't know that that's a possibility. And to just like make an assumption like, oh, you look different than your sister, so one of you is adopted. And it's probably the darker of the two.
Well, there's a lot to unpack in just that statement.
Yeah. Where do we start?
No.
I mean, like, I live in New York now. Sam, are you from New York City? Or are you from New York State?
I was born in New York City.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So everyone here, like, you know, it's like such a great, I mean, it's a bubble, of course, but like most people don't make those assumptions here for the most part. But I think growing up in New England, especially like central Massachusetts, like very white population, that was like a big assumption. I think especially in the 90s where like, if you don't look like one of your parents, then you're adopted.
It's funny because when I was younger growing up, I always thought like the dream of America was that I really bought into that whole melting pot theory of America. And I always assumed that in the future, everyone would kind of look completely different and like just the like monocultural people would be around, but that wouldn't be the norm. And it's just interesting to live with that idea as an adult now, and like that doesn't really jive completely anymore.
Yeah. Did you grow up with those pictures of like, this is what people are going to look like in like 2020?
Yeah, like Time magazine. Like,
yes. Yeah.
What?
Like computer
I don't know
generated.
About these.
They were like, when we were kids, they were like these magazines that would show like, this is what people are going to look like. And you're not like, everyone's going to be super mixed.
Yeah. And I always thought that was like cool.
Yeah. I'm going to find one and send it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we're getting started.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a little slower than I expected.
Wow, Time magazine. Just really trying. Okay. If this was published when we were kids, 2020 was really not far enough away for that to be true. Time magazine. Like, that is not how generations work.
Yeah.
Just want to put that out there.
Still the same generation.
Yes, exactly. Eleanor, you wrote about seeing your Filipina mom in hospitality and how that really molded you, particularly being white presenting and not looking as much like her. I'm so curious. Can you talk about that?
Her working in hospitality and like how that influenced me?
Yeah, I mean, that, and also, I guess, you know, you've talked about this already a little bit, but like when you don't look like a parent necessarily in an obvious way to people, like how that sort of changes your relationship either to your parent or to how you relate to them and like, or to yourself.
Yeah.
And like picking up, you know, you said you kind of wanted to be more of the one that you didn't seem to look like on the outside too, and your sister kind of the other way. And just like, what was that like for you?
Like one big part of that is like when I was growing up, when my sister was in school, I would be spending a lot of time with my mom's friends, like in the kitchen while they were cooking. And so like I felt like a part of a Filipina group of women hanging out in the kitchen. And actually one of your other guests talked about this, like growing up in an Asian family where like you're used to talking to like people of all different ages, like you can talk and relate to people who are like elders, and like it doesn't matter what the age is because that's how you're raised. You're raised in like a family instead of just like parents. And that's how I've always felt. Like I feel like I can talk to anyone because I hung out with my mom's friends when I was like 4 years old. And like one thing that really sticks with me when I think about spending time with my mom and like how it kind of shaped me is I think about, I guess, a lot of judgment that comes from other people when you're out world with a parent. And one story that like my mom told my sister and I fairly recently, like in the last 5-10 years, was that when I was a baby and she was pushing me in a stroller, other Filipina nannies would see her and they'd be like, oh, wow, you're so lucky to have a white child family. Like, do they treat you well? And my mom, instead of saying like, oh, this is my daughter, she would be like, they're a really good family. Like, you're going to find a great family to like take care of as well. Like their kids. And my sister and I were so confused by, like, I think we were a little offended. I was pretty offended. And my sister was offended as well. She's like, why would you say that? And my mom was like, I wanted them to feel like there's hope. Like they were very hopeful that they could find like a better life, like by working for a family and like working up and like they could find a family that would take care of them. And like, to them, it was aspirational in a way. And so she wanted to like provide that to them. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Like, I can see why she said that. But also, like, it made me super sad to think about her in that situation. And like, her first thought is like, oh, I need to make sure this other person feels okay. Like, make the other person feel comfortable. You know, especially now, like, we think about people who are in positions of power and like having to cater to whoever is like has power over them. Like, I was just watching this Instagram video of a Black judge I think he's in the South. He was a judge at one point, but was a practicing lawyer. But then he was in a courtroom as this lawyer, and the judge was a white man, an old white man. And the Black lawyer who had been a judge had to like cater to this man's insensitivity just because like that's the way power works in a courtroom. And meanwhile, he had like argued in front of the Supreme Court. And it's like, when I see things like that, it just like, I think does bring me back to those moments of like, why is it still like this? Like, how are we still having these moments where people are so educated? Like, that was something that I think my sister was really hurt by with like a lot of her friends, where her friends would make fun of my mom's accent, even though my mom like spoke perfect English, was extremely well educated, had a great job, like worked her way up, even though that she'd like graduated from like one of the best colleges in the Philippines, but like had to work her way up here in the US. And my sister was like, just because like she as a young kid, I think like really stood up for my mom, which I think is amazing. And she would say like, my mom may have an accent, but that doesn't mean that she's like not smart, that she's not educated, and that like you have a right to like make fun of the way she speaks. Like, I think about that a lot as like I'm interacting with people, and I think it had like a really big effect on me. And like being in the service industry, like working in retail for a long time, starting my own businesses and focusing on like providing a service to people, is like you never know where people come from and like what experiences they've had. And I think like a big transition I've had in the last year or two is like reminding myself that like any sort of interaction I have with someone, especially if it's negative, like that's not about me. That's like about them. And if like they're having a bad day, like why am I going to like make their day worse by like reacting to like something they've done? If I'm positive, like that's hopefully going to rub off on them. And I feel like it's made such a huge difference in the way like I interact with people and the way people interact with me. Like with that mindset shift, I've really only had like positive experiences with people. And like on the days that I'm having like a bad day, I notice that like, oh, my bad attitude is rubbing off on someone else. So like I need to like check myself.
Do you think that in some ways that was what your mom was doing with that group of nannies?
I think in a way, for sure. I think a part of it was like a little people pleasing, because I think she's a people pleaser. But I also think that she didn't, like kind of want to get into it with anyone. Like she didn't want to be like, well, this is my daughter. And like, I met my husband. He was in the military, but he wasn't in the military. Like he wasn't stationed in the Philippines. Like he's not that guy. Like, you know, like all the stuff. Again, like so many more things, like ideas that people have about a white man and an Asian woman. Who knows? Like I would love to have that conversation with my mom. I don't know like how deep she would be able to like get into it. I don't know that she's like ever really deep dived into it herself.
Did you and your sister react when she told you that story? Were you like, why? What?
Yeah. I think like my sister was like really irritated. And I think I was just like in shock. I was like, why wouldn't you just say that? Like that, like I'm your daughter. Because it like made me feel hurt. I was like, you don't want to say that you're proud of me? Is it like, again, therapy time? Like, I'm like your daughter. Aren't you proud of me being like your daughter? Which I know she is. And then I think my sister was just like in shock because she's like the first person to be like, I'm Filipina. No, this is my sister. Like, yeah, she is like zero shame about it. So
nice.
I think we're coming from all three of us from different.
Yeah. That's interesting. I will say one time I was out when we had just the one child and she was a baby. And I was like, walking around, she was in a stroller or whatever, and I forget where I was, but there were a bunch of nannies and they were like, oh, all of the nannies come here at this time, and I was like, this one's mine actually. Bye.
Yeah,
it was a weird moment where I was like, oh, I know that she looks much more Asian and I am questionable depending on who you are, And it was also at the height of like a lot of Chinese money in San Francisco. So I was like, oh, she just looks like a Chinese money baby and I'm her questionable nanny. But I was like, oh no, this one's actually mine. I'm gonna go now.
Yeah.
So I kind of get it.
I feel like in New York, that's like and I'm the first one to assume this. Like, all of my friends work full time and have nannies, and so like I assume if I see someone out during the day, that it's probably like their nanny without even like looking at the child. And I've like since thinking about this story, like over the last few years, I've been like, okay, don't ever make the assumption that it's the nanny because it could be the mom or the sister or like the grandmother. And that's the other thing in New York. Like you have a lot of women who have kids when they're older, so like it could be the mom. Yeah.
How did this lead you to who you are today?
I mean, there were a few things. Like one, I think my mom moving to the US, raising two girls in a community and in a society she like was really unfamiliar with was really tricky for her. And my dad's mom, I think, supported her as much as she could and like was very kind to her and really helpful when she needed her. But she didn't have the community that she had in the Philippines, you know, like have multiple people looking after your kids. So I think that was really tricky for her. And like, she really wanted to protect us. And like now as an adult, seeing how protective she was of us and like putting on like strict curfews with us and like not hanging out with certain people and like enforcing certain rules and like pushing us to like do things outside of school. Like one of your other Filipina guests had talked about like being a dancer and like staying out of trouble. Like I totally relate to that. Like when she said that, I was like, yes, I don't think I was like a bad kid. Like I know I was a good kid, but if like maybe I wasn't training all the time, I could have been a bad kid. So like I'm really grateful that my mom kind of like pushed us to do all the things like she wasn't allowed to do. Like she grew up in the Philippines, like literally on an island, and she doesn't know how to swim because like her mom was super protective of her and like didn't allow her to swim in the ocean because she didn't want her to drown. And so she would just have like water poured on her by her nannies. And so like she wanted us to go do all these things, but like in a safe way. So like do all the things you want to do, but also like be really careful because you don't know about like what other people are doing. Like just be aware of the other people. And she, I think, really stressed that, like, I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about other people. Like, we don't know other people. And I think as a kid, I was like, why don't you trust everyone? Like, everything's fine. It's safe. Like, it's totally okay. And now I see it. I'm like, oh, I get it. I get why. Yeah. And I'm super grateful for that because, like, I see the people like I was raised with, and I'm like, oh, I'm really, really happy that, like, my sister and I have, like, lived these, like, really full lives and, like, traveled. Have found like careers we really love and community, like built communities we really appreciate and like feel really deeply ingrained in. One thing that I say, which is like, I've built like a business based on like my childhood trauma, which is like being a latchkey kid and like having to like figure things out on my own and like creating, like being an organized kid. Like my sister and I are like super organized because like my parents were like not organized and like not home cooking. And so like, again, going back to like making ramen for myself in the morning, like making myself lunches and like doing all this on my own before I went to school or like the night before. I don't even remember how I knew how to do that. Like, did my parents show me? Did I just like read the instructions? I have no clue. I have no memory of it. So I think a lot of these things that like I created these systems like in my own life. And then I created like my first business was like this concierge service where it's like organizing other people's lives, like booking travel, like doing events, like putting out fires. Like this whole week was like putting out fires for clients. And to me, like that's a really safe space because like I'm used to doing that and like I don't get stressed about it and like I can deal with it for other people.
Are you sure you're not an oldest daughter?
I know. It's weird. I don't know. But my sister too, like she works in compliance and she's like, I don't even know where she is right now. She's been driving around with her boyfriend, like all around the country. And like every day she has like a different story, like in a different place. Like she was in Reno, like this morning at like 2 a.m. I'm like, what are you doing? I didn't even know she was like traveling. They were like in Ireland last month. And she has her work laptop with her, just like working remotely while she's doing all this stuff. Cause she can just like do that real quick and then like jump off and like enjoy what she's doing.
That's awesome.
I know, it's amazing. It's not for me, but like cool for her. But like, I like very much like compartmentalize things. And so like seeing the way that she works is really interesting to me because like, I guess she compartmentalizes in a different way, but she's able to like multitask in a way that like I multitask very differently. And I think again that was like being raised in a way of like my mom would like go send us into the store to like pay the electric bill or whatever. And then we'd be like, okay, I guess I have to go do this. It's like 5 years old. Okay. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Or like talk to like customer service on the phone. And it's like these things that I think a lot of people, especially like I think Gen Z like doesn't know how to do, right? Like they don't know how to like, call, like talk to people on the phone. Like I was doing that at like 5 years old. Like my mom like making me talk to customer service because I think one, she was like self-conscious about it and was probably like bullied on the phone by these people who were like, I can't understand you, speak English, which at the time I didn't realize. But I think she also wanted us to like be empowered and like make decisions on our own and like feel comfortable like speaking to other people and like being independent women, which was like very, very ingrained in us. Like I think maybe too much. Like I've only recently started to like ask for help in like my personal life. So 39 years old, tough lesson to learn.
I mean, there's lots of life ahead of you. You could have waited longer.
Yeah.
She says bad at asking for help also and older than 39.
Yeah.
Good for you.
That's so funny that you mentioned being on customer service for your parent, because I was forced to do that too because my parents didn't speak English that well or at all.
Yeah.
And I was on hold with a customer service thing recently and I felt a sense of calmness because I was like, oh, I've done this so many times as a child that like this has become sort of a calm place for me because I know how to talk to customer service people, I feel like. And like, I learned that being polite gets you the best outcome that you're looking for. And I just felt this sense of calmness because I felt like I knew what I was doing. And like you said, it's kind of like this reaction to trauma has become your superpower in your daily life now.
Yeah.
I mean, not to traumatize your girls, but like maybe it's time for them to learn.
You know, maybe not customer service, but I did have our oldest. So a lot of times they'll be like, can we bring money and buy something if we go out? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Or I'll be like, just give me your money and I'll pay with my credit card and whatever. And recently I had the oldest, I was like, you can bring your $20 and you are going to pay. And it was like very low stakes. Like it was a store where we know the owners and everyone is super friendly, and like the associate ringing her up was like, he was even more friendly, and he was like very much like, oh, what do you, it was like a mystery box type of thing. He was like, which one do you want? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna ease you in because yes, someday I will send you to a place and I'll be like, go buy this thing for me.
Yeah. How old is the oldest?
10.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, so she's ancient by your timeline. She should be packing her own lunches.
Yeah. I mean, I was buying my mom cigarettes, like, at, like, I don't know what age, like, very young. It's crazy.
I mean, more so whomst ever sold those to you is the...
I know. Why was that allowed?
But cigarettes in the 90s was totally a thing. It's fine.
I don't understand it. I mean, I think the first few times my mom would like go in with us and be like, these are my daughters. So if you ever see them, like they're buying the cigarettes for me. Like they don't like that I smoke. So don't worry. They're not the ones smoking. They actually hate that I'm asking them to do this. And, you know, by the time we were teenagers, so it was definitely when we were young, because by the time we were teenagers, my sister and I were like, we're not buying them for you. If you want to kill yourself, you can do that on your own time. Like, we're not promoting you smoking. But yeah, like, what? I can't believe, oh my God, I haven't thought about that in so long. Crazy. Crazy stuff. But also, like, the customer service thing, I think is also really interesting now because so many call centers are in the Philippines. So I also, like, use that a little, like, honey of, like, I'm Filipina. Are you in the Philippines? I'm Filipina, too. Like,
to get better customer service? Nice.
Yeah.
Just drop in a few words.
Yeah. Usually it's helpful. I don't have my sister got stuck in the Philippines during COVID. Like, she quit her job September 2019. Flew out. We have a half brother in the Philippines, flew out September and was traveling with his friends. They were doing like a Southeast Asian tour, traveled with them. COVID hit China in November, right? That's when they started to like test out there. Or at least they knew it was happening in November 2019. So then they stopped the tour. My sister just stayed. She's like, well, I'm not going to go back now. Like, I'll just stay for a few months. And then I think saw the writing on the wall, stayed in Davao on the beach with my parents for a year. And was like living her best life on the beach.
Wow.
I know. Meanwhile, I'm stuck here in like my 1-bedroom apartment in New York, like not leaving. Like, looking out the
You're like,
window.
Yay, nurses.
Exactly. Totally.
Takeout.
Those are the videos on my Instagram, like 3 videos of being like, yay, like looking across at the highlights of the video, like, yay, we hear you. I know.
Meanwhile, on the beach.
I know. My sister's like paddle boarding, having like a great time. They're like having like, because they're in a subdivision, so like nobody's allowed to leave or go. So super safe on their end. But like they can all be out. So they're like having like Filipino parties. Like I'm like, we are living very different lives here.
They're like, get out the banana leaves.
Like we're gonna have a festival, like little Kamayan with my dog. Like, oh my gosh, definitely totally different COVID experiences for sure.
Wow. Where's your sister live normally?
She's now in Milwaukee, but well, I mean,
Okay.
currently I have no idea where she is, but like, yes, she
Sure.
lives in Milwaukee.
Okay. So in New York, it is the melting pot sort of, but not in the Time magazine. We all look the same, but different way.
Yeah.
Do people clock you as Filipino or Asian, or like, do you sort of have to like drop it in a conversation
I love
when
to
it's
drop
relevant?
it.
Do you try to work it in wherever you can? Is it
Always.
like your version of being vegan is like, I'm Filipina?
Yes, 100%. I love to be like, if I think someone's Filipina, like talking, let them say a few things. Then I'm like, are you Filipina? And then if it's like, yes, I'm like, me too. And they're like, are you? I'm like, yes, I am. I wouldn't have asked you that. Like, yes, 100% I am. Or if they're like, no, I'm like, oh, I am. So like, I wasn't sure. Like, because then I don't want them to feel offended that I like thought they were Filipino and they have like no idea why I'm asking. So yeah. Always.
They're like, what a weird racial
Yeah. Why are you asking me that?
Yeah.
And why are you profiling me? Yeah. So I'm working right now on the Zoran campaign, like just volunteering. And so there are a lot of like, we organize like all the volunteers who come into the office and we do this like event every Wednesday where like we're pairing all the lit. And there have been a few like titas that have come in, but also like women my age and younger. And I've always like, there's like a Filipinas for Zoran that they like did a karaoke night. I didn't know about that. I saw it on Instagram.
Oh my God.
But yeah, there's
just
like
all of the money through. I would throw all of my money at that.
No more money. We can't take any more money. It's like maxed out campaign.
Wow.
Finance. Yeah. So now it's just fun.
Good job, titas.
Yeah. We made friendship bracelets at the office yesterday.
Cute. Are people surprised when you say you're Filipina, or are most people like, oh, okay?
I think the older Filipinas are,
and
then the younger ones are not. Yeah. I remember that's like another like childhood memory of like when we'd be in like restaurants or meet other Filipino families, and my mom would, I get that from my mom. Well, my mom would be like, Filipino, and like start talking to them, and they would look at me and they're like, are these your girls? And she's like, and they're like, oh yeah. Is that your daughter? Like, and then point at me again, and my mom's like, yeah. My husband's American. Yeah. So yeah, I think younger generations are like more used to it, but like the older generations, I think, are still like, they still look at me and they're like trying to figure it out. Even though I look exactly like when I like, there's photos of me and my mom, and we look exactly the same. Just I'm lighter skinned than her.
Mm-hmm. They're like, which parts? Where are you?
I don't see it at all. Like we're literally the same person. Yeah.
Should we wrap? Do you need to go? You're real fun. We could keep talking all day, but I know that you have commitments in the evening too. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Oh, there is one thing that I wanted to throw in with the Lumpia.
Yeah.
I have this lingerie line that I started with a girlfriend of mine who's also Filipina. And when we met here in New York 14 years ago, when we were both working in a men's swimwear company, but I was interviewing her for a position. And of course I did like the very illegal thing, speaking of like asking people if they're we were like doing the first few questions, and I was like, you Filipina? And she gave me the craziest look and was like, yeah. And I was like, me too. So like, it was okay, I think, even though it's an illegal question to ask in the interview process for hiring. But then we became best friends.
Yeah, it feels like there are a few different outcomes where like it's then legal. Should be okay, right? Like,
yeah, if you hire them, fine.
If you hire them, fine.
Yeah.
If your thing is the same, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we became best friends, and yeah, we bonded over the fact that we were Filipino. She introduced me to all of like my New York Filipino friends. We have like a really beautiful group of Filipino friends now that we're all going to see each other actually next weekend upstate. And then, so when we were talking about like how Verdant like plays into this, like our line is like, we are a line that's like focused on like women in movement. Like when you like, you know, so many lingerie lines, they like have women just like lounging on the couch, like in lingerie, or like standing in front of a mirror, and you're like, that's not what I do.
Most of my life is just spent on a chaise lounge, just still
lounging.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, like Rose and Titanic. Yeah.
No,
that's like, so we wanted to make a line that was like women in movement in New York, like on the go. And Michelle has 2 kids, so she's running around after them. I'm running with my dog all the time. I mean, he doesn't run, but like we're running around together and running these 2 businesses. And like I was thinking about like how that interacts with Lumpia, because like you think of Lumpia as like this like party snack that like you can walk around. It's like a street food, and you're like walking around with all of your Lumpia. And I think that's really fun too. It's like, I feel like we created this, like, we wanted it to be about women, and we wanted to like loop in being Filipina and like being like very inclusive with our community. And like actually every campaign we've done, we've had Filipina models as well, just kind of by accident, which is kind of crazy. We have had 3 photo shoots, and every single one has had a Filipina model. It's like, again, like not trying to like find these people, and it just kind of like comes to us. And I think it's like a really beautiful thing. Like when you're building these communities, that like the more you seek it out, I feel like it comes to you as well. And I think that's something that like with a lot of Asian communities, like it is something that's kind of ingrained in us. And even if we try like not to make it a part of us, it just is. And comes really like naturally. Even if like my sister too, like she's super, super outgoing. I'm trying to find the right word. Like she's not extroverted, but she's extremely outgoing. So people who know her, like when they meet her at work, they assume that she's like the most outgoing person, like super extroverted, but she's like not. She like won't talk to anyone she doesn't know. She hates like doing presentations. And so like they're super confused when we're like, oh, Tanya's like not an extroverted person. Like she likes to like have her downtime. Like she doesn't like talking to people she doesn't know. And they're like, no, she's like the most outgoing person. I'm like, no. I've known her since I was born. Like she's not.
Like, trust me.
And I think that like even her, she's so good at creating community and like she's moved to like so many different places and like made huge groups of friends right away, but just because she's so used to like reaching out to the people around her and like having, like, she doesn't love to cook, but like she will have people over to cook and like make other people cook for her.
Genius.
She has like this really magical touch of like getting people to do things for her. I don't know how she does it. Like she's really good at dating and like getting people to like take her out for stuff. And I'm like, teach me how to do that. Cause I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, I'll do it. I'll pay for the dinner. It's fine. Like, don't worry about it. Everything's cool. Yeah. She like has no problem asking people to do things for her. I know.
I do feel like that's a different part of, like, there is a stage of Asian woman where you're just like a master delegator, right? Like there's the oh, I'm serving everyone, and like that stage, and then at some point you just age into like master delegator, and like you do this, you do that, you do, and you're just like, oh, actually, this whole thing about like submissive Asian women is totally false, because we are just a culture of matriarchs. Yes. And behind the scenes,
totally
telling everyone what to do.
I think she learned that very young. Like she told my mom that she would paint our kitchen when we were, I think she was like in middle school or high school. Maybe I was in middle school, she was in high school. And then she just had all of her friends come over and had her friends paint the kitchen. She didn't do it. This is another memory that's like a core memory for some reason. I don't know why. And my mom like really yelled at her, and she's like, you said you were going to do it. You can't have your friends come over like those. Like you can't tell your friends what to do. And she's like, they wanted to do it. Like I told them I was doing it and they were really excited. But like my sister, I don't think like lifted a finger. Like I think
my
she had her
God.
friends do it.
She's a delegator.
She's a delegator. She's going to rule us all one day.
She is. But she doesn't like managing people. So she like doesn't manage. I don't know.
That makes her the best kind of manager. People don't even know that she's managing them.
Light touch.
Yeah.
They're just like, we do what Tanya says.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Totally. I know, it's a great skill. I don't know how she does it.
Let's hope she doesn't start a cult. Or maybe she.
I don't know. If it's like painting and cooking, that doesn't sound like the worst.
Yeah. She'd be a good cult leader.
Commune. It's a commune.
Good food, like fun vibes, lots of travel. I think it would take over the world pretty quickly. Yeah, she'd be pretty good at it.
Okay, I would join this.
Yeah.
It seems fine.
Positive cult.
Yeah.
Positive cult.
I think that we need to have you and your sister come back together.
Oh my gosh, I would love that. She wants to actually start a podcast, so that would be amazing.
Oh, hey, let's talk.
Yeah.
About what?
I've asked her that. She's not so great. She has like a lot of really great ideas, but like she's the type of person that like knows how to do everything like a little bit. Because she tries everything. So she'll like learn how to knit and can like knit a scarf, but that's it.
Oh, yes.
In figure skating, actually, I was the one who was like the competitive one, but she could like she quit skating when she went to high school, but then she would come back after like not skating for years and then like land a double jump. And I'm like, why are you not doing this? Like, she's like naturally good at so many things, but like doesn't really want to try. Like she has the word for it, like the phrase of like the smart lazy. Oh my gosh, yes, this is the delegator thing. The smart lazy, where she knows how to do things with the least amount of effort.
This sounds like a masterclass.
Yeah.
Smart Lazy is a great title.
Smart Lazy is a good title.
Yeah. Smart lazy.
Hey, Tanya, we've solved it for you. Look, oh my God, we did the work for her.
Yeah.
It just happened.
So So the point is, she doesn't know what her podcast is going to be. She just knows that she wants to do it just because she likes to. She's a yapper. Like she loves to like chit chat. So she wants to have like a podcast where she can talk about things. And so I had said to her, like, maybe we could have one about like just the things that like women are going through right now. Like have different people that like we talk to that we're inspired by or like are doing something really cool and just like have them come on and talk about it. Cause I feel like that's like with all friendships or like, you know, when you don't see your friends as adults as regularly, like you're catching up and it's like, oh my gosh, you got this promotion like 3 months ago? Like I had no idea. And like all the cool things you're doing or like, oh my God, you're 5 months pregnant. When did that happen? You know, like, like all of these things. And so if you round up those women, like I think that could be really fun. And like also talking about like with my group of friends right now, like talking about perimenopause and like how no one talks about that and like how it happens way younger than you actually think it does. Or like women's issues in this election and like all the stuff that's happening in the country. Like there's so many different parts of it and like different, you know, we're all in different places and I've lost some friends to MAGA, unfortunately. And it's like, I don't want to like, that's a really hard thing to talk about. And like, do you talk about that with them? Like, how far do you go to have those conversations or like Israel and Palestine, like huge divisive factor in New York. Like, where do you have those conversations? And like, who do you talk to about those things? And like, how do we talk about it in a way that like isn't, obviously it's divisive, but like, how do we talk about it as friends with people who are comfortable having those conversations more regularly? I feel like that would be like a really fun thing to do. And like, who knows if anybody would listen? Like, I think she just wants to do it.
I like that you just named like 2 crazy heavy topics and you're like, that would be really fun.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I am an Aquarius. What signs are you guys?
Gemini.
Aries.
Oh, you're an Aries. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you're an Aries.
I don't know what that means. Yeah.
Aries are really like light. I mean, I think it's very Aquarian, but I think that's also like very it's very like, do you guys know Vanessa Van Edwards? You know who she is? The woman that wrote about cues. She's on Instagram a lot. And she's been on a lot of podcasts over the last years, like talking about cues and like all of the different cues. Like she's now up to like 97 cues. Like we send each other verbal, nonverbal. Like there are 5 different ways that we send cues. And then there's 97 cues. And I think like every few months, like she finds another cue that we like,
oh my God,
email to each other. And I was talking about this just on text message. We were talking about how like mirroring people and how mirroring is actually a cue that like you like people and you want to have an interaction with them. And then also diving deeper into conversations. I was talking about this with one of my employees. Like she talks about how she doesn't ask simple questions. Like when she talks to someone, like we don't talk about like what your job is. Like, what do you do for work?
Boring.
Yeah. She's always like, what have you been doing that's super exciting right now? And I was like, that means that you want to create a connection and a relationship with that person. Like if you're the type of person that does that, like if Magda does this with people and then I hear her just ask a simple question, I'll be like, oh, she doesn't want to build a connection with that person because no interest.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
and it's
Mhm.
these cues that we send each other and like creating this kind of what she would call like a glitch. It's like this glitch in conversation where your brain, this is Vanessa Van Edwards talking about this, like when you are talking to people, if you want to create connection, having these deeper questions that don't have to be super deep, like,
Mhm.
what do you think about Israel and Palestine? But like something simpler than that. But not like, oh, like look at the weather today. Like these are things that like we can do in our sleep, right? Like we want to have these conversations that are like deeper and connect us to people. And so we want to ask questions that are like open-ended questions that like get people excited. And it's a glitch in your brain, and your brain's like, oh, I need to think about something. And not just like spit something out like, oh yeah, it's a beautiful day. Oh yeah, the weather like it really dropped last night, or like it's going to be 80 degrees. Like, cool. Like, what plans do you have? Because it's 80 degrees. It might be like the last 80-degree day we have until like June. Like, what are you going to do this weekend? And that creates like a connection with people. And I think that's really important to like thinking about. And I think that's the thing, like when you're talking like, oh, are you Filipino as well? Like, it's a glitch, right? It's like, oh, why are you asking me if I'm Filipino? Like, something people typically ask me. I think that's great.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, to bring it back even more, and that's why our podcast is so unstructured.
Oh, really?
In part. I mean, part of it is like we want to know where guests go. Like we don't set up questions in advance because that's our agenda, and our only agenda is to like hear our guest story and hear your story so that we can platform like the multitude of ways that people grew up Asian in America and like hear the, you know, the nuances of it and give as much space to that as possible. So that, you know, if we asked questions, then I think like we're also kind of playing into like, well, here are the 6 ways to be Asian in America. Yeah. And so that's why we start with like, what's childhood food?
Yeah.
What did that mean to you? Who was around? Who was eating it? And like, it sort of lays the groundwork. And then you do everything else because I couldn't know, right? Like we could ask for a bunch of prep questions ahead of time, and we have a few. But ultimately it's your story, and we just want to like pull that out of people and like give them space to tell it with as much nuance or as little as they want, without us being like, here's the thing we want you to say, and here's the question that we're driving home, and here's like, tell us your lunchbox story, or like, tell us, you know, this trauma, or like fit yourself into this narrative, because that defeats the purpose. So yeah.
That makes sense. I love that. I was like really nervous to like do an unstructured podcast, and I was like, I need to prepare. And my childhood trauma making me prepare. But like, I love that it's super open-ended, because I love like these type of conversations. Like I love that it's like, again, it like just creates a connection with people. And I think it's really fun and interesting. And I like, it makes me always want to go back, like listening to your podcast. I've listened to them like so out of order. And I just like click on the ones, like I listened to like all the Filipino ones, but then I went back and listened to other ones that I was like, oh, I'm interested in like this recipe or like that person. Like your community, is it a bookstore? It's like a community store. Yeah. Like that one was super interesting. And I think it's really fun, because I do think when you're preparing for anything, you very much like tie yourself to these things that you've prepared, right? Like your bullet points, like all of this stuff. And it's like, you know, like in dating, or like when you're meeting friends for the people that you want to be friends with for the first time, or like you're networking, it's like, okay, I have my things, and these are the things I'm going to say. And like, you're not yourself. And so like you're making yourself into this person that you want to portray instead of who you actually are. And then like you tie yourself to this thing that you're not. And then you're like upset that like these people have these expectations of you. And it's like, you set yourself up for failure.
Well, and also, yeah, I mean that, and also to kind of, you know, bring it back to like being Haba and like being mixed. Like, I think that if, you know, we set up questions, or even if you come in with this sort of expectation of like, I need to talk about XYZ, then you are already kind of laying out like what identity you're going to speak to, as opposed to just being like, we talk about food and then we see what happens. Teaser, I do have a whole other podcast idea about being Hapa and having like the mixed race identity. So we might be in conversation again, Eleanor, about that.
Oh yeah.
But all that to say, like, you know, I think why we chose food, and I think why food is so much a part of community building and how we connect, is because it is so low stakes, and it doesn't necessarily, like, it can tie you to identity, but it doesn't tie you so tightly, and it doesn't tie to like, you know, and except in I think a few core instances, like it doesn't tie to like who you are at your core. It's a way to just sort of talk about who you are, who you want to be, who you were, without being like, this is me as I present today. These are my 5 things. But like,
Yeah.
there's very few recipes that are like so tied to people that they're like, no, this is who I am. Chicken is my personality. Sam is one of them. We know another one. Chicken is her personality. It's fine. But yeah, because, you know, we want to leave this as open as possible for you to just say like, who are you? What is your experience? What is it like? And hopefully someone else will listen and be like, I also grew up in Western Massachusetts and was one of a few Asians. Actually, that was Brian's family, right, Sam?
Mm-hmm.
We had a guest who also grew up in Western Massachusetts, and they were like the only Chinese family for a while and that sort of thing, right? But it's that point of just being like, I thought it was just me, or like my experiences of lumpia were similar, or not. I didn't eat lumpia at all because I'm Chinese, but for us it was dumplings or whatever. Mm-hmm. So like finding connection that way. But like if we're crafting the questions and we're asking people to like fit into a mold, then like that can't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's like a dinner party. Like you never know where the conversation's going to go. And like, I think you have those dinner parties where it's like really stuffy and like, we only speak about XYZ. We don't talk about these things we don't talk about these things at Thanksgiving. Like the bear episode where you don't talk about the things. You guys watch The Bear?
Yes. 7 fishes.
Oh,
we don't talk about these things at Thanksgiving. Or like, or you do talk about all the things and like, then you don't talk to each other for another year.
And then there's a car that comes through the wall.
Never know.
Spoilers. Sorry, people that haven't watched The Bear 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's your fault at this point.
Yeah.
This is fun. We could keep talking forever, but you have some commitments to Taylor today.
I do. I'm going to take my dog out. I promised I'd take him to the park.
This was super fun. Where can people find you if they want to find you, if you want to be found?
Yes. I'm happy to be found. I don't put anything out that I don't want people to see. I feel very lucky as a millennial, like to not have had all my things as my college years out there, thankfully. So the lingerie line that Michelle and I started, the Filipino-owned lingerie line that's designed and made here in New York by actually all of our vendors are Asian.
Love it.
It's amazing. All New York based. Verdant, verdant-nyc.com or Verdant_New York on Instagram. We're putting out our first holiday collection this winter, and we're currently in the midst of production. Michelle and I are like hand sewing embellishments, so that's another thing that we were doing like last week. She's taking her kids to Legoland tomorrow, but like then next week we're like getting ready for like the push of like getting stuff ready for capsule collection. Which,
wow.
Yeah.
I get the hand sewing. You lost me. I mean, I'm impressed, and also no.
So,
I only hand sew, and it's mostly like, can I stitch this stuffy back together so it doesn't lose its guts?
Yeah.
Can I stitch up the seam of the butt of these leggings so that they live another season?
Yeah, that's hard.
Like that.
Like stretchy,
I don't do it very well. No, stretchy is
really difficult. I mean, that's a whole nother. They have a whole nother machine for stretchy fabrics, so. It's even like
didn't know machine. This is me like sitting in front of the TV on Netflix being like, oh, this seems like it'll hold for a while.
Wow,
I don't know.
That's really impressive.
I don't do it often. There's mostly just a pile of things I should sew, and then a child being like, when will you sew this stuffy back? And I'm like, I don't. Another day? I don't know. Also, maybe we'll just get new leggings. It's fine.
Yeah.
They're $7.
We live in America. The stuffies also have American healthcare, which means they have to wait in a long line.
It's true. It's really true.
Yeah.
Some of them, they're just suffering with their chronic illness silently.
Oh,
okay.
Thank you two so much. This was really fun.
Thank you. Thank you for listeners. Eleanor is going to share her lumpia recipe or some like close enough to it, which we appreciate and we will be making. I want to give it a try.
Yeah.
So listeners, you can find that on our website, worstqualitycrab.com, or find us on Instagram at worstqualitycrab, and you can email us at worstqualitycrabpod@gmail.com. We'll get the recipe up. Go find Eleanor, find her lingerie brand, particularly if you are in motion, which I think most of us are in this day and age. And if you are not, tell me about your life. How did you come to live on a Chase Lounge? Just curious. Thank you again for being here. This was super fun. We definitely need to have you back with your sister, maybe
Yes.
on the spinoff podcast. So many conversations to be had still.
Yeah.
I think we've made real connection here
Yeah. I love
with our
it.
open-ended
Thank you.
questions.
Yeah.
and all of our glitches.
Love
I love that.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you. And thanks everyone for listening. Until next time, we will talk to everybody later. Bye.
Bye.